But let's go to our last segment. Of course, you all know that is one last thought. So we want to go ahead and we'll start, Mr. Fingers, with you. What is your one last thought for this week, sir?
One last thought. Doesn't necessarily apply to everyone who's watching, because we don't all have kids. I happen to be a father of three very wonderful boys and a daughter, and two of the boys live in Georgia, and because they're not as close, I don't get to see them as often. Um,
Sure.
and the point that I'm trying to make is make sure that you let your children know, or loved ones in general, but this is specifically about kids from me, from my story.
Sure.
Let
Hmm.
them know that you love them and try to do everything that you can to let them know that you love them. Um, my second son, um uh, he and I were kind of on a different vibe. We didn't dislike each other or anything like that. We just like on a different vibe. Like my oldest is me. Like he is me with the jokes and the music and the whole nine.
Okay. Right.
The youngest is very into. He's got the cooking. My
No.
daughter
Okay.
does a lot of the creative stuff, the painting and things like that, and also does music. Darren is the football player, or was the football player. He played football all through high school. He was the athlete. So, but he was on that different vibe because he didn't have a lot of the other stuff. The other ones did the other three do. And sometimes I feel like we're not that close. Not for lack of effort on my part or his part. It's just he works a lot. My son called me today, right before the show. That's why I'm in such a good mood today. Because he
Oh,
called
good.
me. I play phone tag with him all the time, and I'm like, because backstory, when their mother and I split up, they stayed in Georgia. I was in Virginia, so I didn't get to see them as much, and
Right.
I sometimes worried that maybe they felt like I favored the two youngest over them because I had the two youngest with them. But he called me today just out the blue, and he didn't want a doggone thing other than to check on his dad and see how he was doing. And we talked for about 10 or 15 minutes. He was just getting off work because I'm gonna go in the house and get myself something. And I just called to tell you I love you. And I was like, oh my God. I am floating right now. I
Sure.
feel good. I
Absolutely.
feel good.
That's great.
Hey,
Great to
I
hear.
feel good.
Absolutely.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Thanks, James. I appreciate. No, but no, that's great, man. I'm happy for you. That's as a son to and I'm very lucky to to have my parents. You know, I just sorry not to interrupt your story, but I just feel like it's such an important thing. Like I make sure I call my dad every week, regardless of what's going on, just to check in with him to see how he's doing. Now, my mother, I share an apartment with, so I see her every day. But I make sure I call my dad every week just to make sure I check in on him, make sure he's all right. Let him know I love him too. So that's a great thing. I'm very happy for you. I know that's a great thing. When a father gets that phone call. So I
Oh yeah.
totally that's totally awesome. I'm happy for you, man. That's
Yeah,
great.
same here. My father had a stroke many years ago. He's been in I mean, he's my mother is his caretaker, and
Yeah,
he's not he's still in there, but he has a hard time with speech. So
sure.
I will call just to hear my father say, "Hey," and then
Yeah,
I say, "All right, Dad, I'll talk to you later." He go, "Okay," and
right.
that's all I can get out of him. But
Sure.
that's my hero. So
No, I got you, brother. No, that's awesome. That's really no, seriously, very happy for you, sir. Delilah, how about you? What is your one last thought for this week?
Yeah, so my last thought is today is a Giving Tuesday. Um
Okay.
and so basically sometimes when people think of Giving Tuesday, which I know people think like you have to make donations, but I think one of the most important things is like giving back could be like small things. Like
Okay.
honestly, like giving up a seat on the bus, holding a door open for somebody,
Sure.
uh just a small gesture sometimes to me goes a longer way. Um,
Okay.
because I feel like, especially with just the we're still in the holidays, but obviously we're hitting December, where some of the more major holidays happen, like Hanukkah,
Yes.
Christmas, and a lot of these, right? And so I feel like um this is a happy time for a lot of people, but it's also like a sad time. And so I always
Oh yeah.
feel like to make sure that we're always trying to just kind of be kind and give these small gestures to people and be patient Be understanding. Oftentimes I see people get frustrated um with kids and adults that are delayed, right? I have a
Okay,
brother.
sure.
Yeah, I have a brother with special needs, and I often see people get frustrated. Sometimes like when they're like when they're out in public, and it's like, well, they're just people like everyone else. Like
Right. Correct.
I feel like we just need to be like less judgmental, more open, and realize that people have just different like abilities and struggles. Um, and that we just need to reflect on that, and then yeah, just spread a gesture. I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, they'll see they'll like, oh, do you want to donate $1, like CVS, right? And people are like, oh,
Oh yeah.
they put that in their pocket. Or sometimes I'm not gonna lie, like if I do have money on me and someone is standing outside the store, I give it to them. I don't care. I don't know. I don't care
Right.
what it's for. I'm not judging. Whatever, you do what you want with
Right.
it. But it's like whenever I do something like that, there's always someone that's like, oh, why are you doing that? They're gonna use it for drugs or alcohol. I'm like, how do you know that?
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
how do
you
you
really don't.
know?
I mean, yeah.
How do you know that that's what they're gonna use it for? And if they
Yeah.
are, I don't know. I don't care. That's not the point. The point is someone standing
Right.
out here in the cold, whatever. It's just like I feel like if we do something kind, like just accept it. Like you don't have to be a Grinch and be like, why are you doing this? You know,
Right.
like I just
Oh, for sure.
I hear it all the time. Anytime I'm like, sure, I'll round up Walgreens for whatever cause.
Oh yeah. 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 Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, they're pocketing it." I'm like, I'm giving it out of the kindness of my heart.
Right.
I
Exactly.
don't
Yeah.
I don't, I'm hoping it goes to the right people in the right places.
For
But
sure.
and there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with generosity, and generosity is not how doesn't have to be monetary. Like I
Not at
said, just
all. Agreed.
generosity can also be generosity of spirit, of just confronting life in a positive way, and just do little gestures, small tokens. People always appreciate it.
Yeah.
But that's
No.
basically it. Like let's just,
No. No. Sure.
more
Just be decent.
generosity,
I
less
get it.
judgment.
There you go. No, for sure. And real quick for me, I got one word for everyone, and it's COVID. As you know, the last 2 years we've been dealing with this, but unfortunately we're still dealing with it. I had to take 2 COVID tests over the Thanksgiving holiday because a good family friend of ours who helps my mom out came down with it. So we were around her on last Tuesday. So I took a couple of tests. I'm negative, thank the Lord, but it's still out there, boys and girls. So we still have to be wary of that. I mean, I try to be as careful as I can in terms of that. Like I haven't really been going a ton of places. Like I do what I have to do. If I go to work, I go to work. I wash my hands. I use my sanitizer. Try to do what I can. I wear a mask in certain areas at times when I have to. But yeah, it's still out there, and unfortunately, it's still affecting people. Again, whatever your feeling is, I certainly, again, I don't judge anybody but I did get my uh, you know, the 2 shots and the booster when all that was going on to protect myself and my mother as well. So again, just be diligent, guys. Be aware. It's still out there. Again, I'm not telling anybody because believe me, I go out and live my life. I'm not living scared, but at the same time, I do try to be cognizant of the fact that COVID is still around, and it's still affecting people, everywhere. So just protect yourself, do the best you can. We want everyone to be happy and healthy, especially around this holiday season, as Delilah said. It is a season of giving. I mean, it's to me, I've always liked Christmas. I think for that reason, because it's an opportunity. Even if all year I haven't really done much, I always feel like I redeem myself around Christmas just by trying to get into the spirit and really just be giving of myself, whether that's my time, whether it is money, buying people, or like I said, just handing out a dollar or two to someone who asks for it. Like, this is something I'm trying to be better at in terms of practicing it year round instead of just at this time. But I know, especially at Christmas, like to get into the spirit of everything and kind of just be giving of myself to whatever. So, uh, again, that's all I really have to say on that. I thank you again all for watching. You guys are the best. Seriously, you make this show fun. I mean, you guys comment, you watch. It's great. Being here with Delilah and Handy is always a good time. So again, we want to thank everyone for watching this week. Thank you for your comments. Thank producer Sean in the background for being the comedian he is. I mean, we like him even though he's a Commanders fan. It's okay. We still love you, buddy. Keep rooting for Washington. It's okay. But for Anthony Handy, Mr. Fingers, for Delilah Crespo, I'm Nick Rosario. We'll see you all again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a good week, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Good night.
Bye.